You're the fire. Yes, you straight to the just the mention of your name seems to drive my head insane. Do I do? Hello, guys. Welcome to the King Jeff podcast. We're excited to present to you today as we tread forward in knocking down the gates of oppression and implementing this royal culture that we talk about. For anyone who's on, request to come in and we'll be more than happy to invite you in. This podcast is addressing 3 key areas that our community need that will play a pivotal role in establishing us as self-sufficient and prosperous. We have to get on the right track. Personal relationships. If you're interested in finding a personal relationship, if you're interested in finding love, come through our platform. Tell us what you're about and let us examine you to see if you're good ground to link up to other people. And we believe that you're going to find a great situation out of it and the community is going to benefit. If you're interested in looking for business partners to do that exact same thing, if you're looking for a community development team to do that exact same thing, come to us. Let us know so we can go out in social media world and meet people that you don't even know exist. Movements that you don't even know about. There are far and few people who are absolute perfect fit for you. That's why you have to kind of go to social media and put yourself out there so that you can have a far more reaching net than just your own circumstance, wherever your feet tread. There's a whole bigger world out there. The person who you are perfect for and your perfect match in relationship, or the perfect person who's a perfect business partner, thinking in lines of the same things that you are, have the same type vision, or community partners who are establishing royalty in your space. They could be on the other side of town, not knowing you. You could be walking by each other all the time, missing each other, in the grocery store, at the park, at the game, in church, when you do not have these types of conversations to even see who those people are. But in this case, if you come through this venue, at least others understand what this is about. So when they look in and hear your story, they'll find it compelling and identify with it and decide to partner with you. That's what you're looking for, right? I've come to understand that where your feet tread, that's your footwork, is not always the best work. There's so many other ways that you can get your message out. It's like having a personal conversation with someone in person. Do you wait to see that person, or is it better to just get on the cell phone and give them a call or send them an email? It's better to use the most efficient means to communicate, right? We don't have to make those accommodations to see people anymore physically and be in their physical presence to communicate with them. Send smoke signals, things like that. Okay, so keep that in mind and consider that an option. This is a community effort that we're putting forth. It's not for ourselves. We're not just trying to give lectures and talking points. We want to actually create the venue where people are calling in. This is a Facebook, Instagram call-in show. We want people calling in. So you can either call us at 832-283-3087 if you want to call in and discuss your concern, your question. If you have any questions concerning the three things that I'm discussing, love, business, or community development, or you can reach in at Instagram, the King Jeff Podcast on Instagram, or the King Jeff Podcast on Facebook. Okay, well, let's go in. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on small talk. Let's just go in. Okay, what we're discussing today, we're discussing the difference between the 1%, the 2%, and the 97%. That's what we constantly talk to you about, because we're trying to grow the urgency. We're trying to grow the understanding of what that urgency is, so that our community members can come in and get involved. Everybody's doing something in their space. I get it. Everybody's living culture in their space, whether it's good, dysfunctional, or otherwise. The point is, we need to have a united collective effort to overcome the negative movements that were not united and consistent against us, that continue to persist. The oppressors and those who are against you, they conspired and they unified. The leaders of that had power, whether it's Queen Elizabeth or even those who initially, traded human capital for wealth, for money from the very beginning. The power structure made those decisions, and then the little people complied, and those who were in power actually took it a step further. Russia, the Ukraine, same thing. Russia is pretty mighty. They're a threat to the world. So they are able to go and take over a sovereign country and feel confident that they can hurt others as much as they can get hurt. So they understand that everybody else will be cautious to enter in to something that's happening on their land, their foreign land. They feel that the Ukraine is theirs since they broke away from the Soviet Union. Let me not go into things that I'm not absolutely sure about. So it sounds right. So I guess I should leave it alone. But I hope that's right. At least that's how I heard it explained. And I hear that Putin is trying to restore that USSR of old. But let's go in. Let's deal with this 1%, 2%, and 97%. Let's start from the absolute place where most of us reside. Our community is in the position that it's in because most of us are 97%ers. Even those who understand and are 2%ers, they do not have the influence or we don't have, because I'm a 2%er. We're woke, but we don't have the influence to make the changes that are necessary for the collective. Inside of the Matrix, our references to the Matrix project is apparent in everything that we do, because everything that we discuss is from a Matrix perspective. The 1%ers control everybody to a degree, even the 1%ers for the most part, because they control the things that people need to live, thrive, and they set trends. 1%ers do far less of the following because they understand what things are tricks, what things are folly, what things are a farce. So because they understand it, because they're amongst a group who is petitioning and controlling the other 99%, they don't participate in the games, the tricks, that propaganda, and that they control the 99% with. No, they know it's a farce. They know it's not true. So they don't participate. The 2%ers participate in much more of the control of the 1%ers than the 1%ers, because the 2%ers, while they're very woke to many of their schemes, they're not woke to all of them. They're not in the board meetings, and they don't understand all that the 1%ers are doing to the 99%. But the 2%ers are very woke to many of the things that the 97%ers are not aware of, and they do not consider. Now, the 97%, even though they could have great wealth and they could have, prestige in some ways, they can even be rich, but they don't understand they don't understand that they're entrapped and that they're being controlled. So let's go over what those percentages look like. Who are the 1%, the 2%, and the 97%? You be the judge. As it stands in our community, we're systemically dependent. And as it stands right now, we do not have enough people who are urgently searching for answers beyond the talk, who's willing to put their time, their treasure, and their talent in overcoming this injustice, because it's an unjust thing, some from the outside and the inside. We're causing, much of this on ourselves, because we've been sedated, we've been made comfortable, and now in our comfort, we refuse oftentimes to get involved with overturning these negative effects, and that's a problem. So here we go. The 97% have no clue, and I'm going to go through them all together so you can see the difference between them. The 97% have no clue what to do about systemic dependency. We know what to do. The 2%, in which I'm a part of, they strive to eliminate systemic dependency. Okay? The 1%, they sacrifice their lives for freedom. Look at the difference. The 97% have no clue what to do about systemic dependency, and they do nothing to overturn the effects of systemic dependency. 2% strive to eliminate systemic dependency. I'm a 2%er. I'm striving with all of what I'm doing to eliminate systemic dependency. That's why we offered the Matrix Project. That's why I opened a community center. That's why we founded a nonprofit organization, the United Leadership Alliance, and a networking group called the Matrix Financial Group. This is why we're implanting our programs in public school systems so that we can awaken the people. That's why we're having workshops. That's why we're having cultural festivals. That's why we're doing all of these things, so that we can recover and wake up the 97% and build alliances with them, so that we can eventually become more 2%ers, and then eventually get to our 1% self, where we understand and sacrifice our lives for freedom. The 97% have no clue what to do about systemic dependency. The 2% strive to eliminate systemic dependency. The 1%ers sacrifice their lives for freedom. Look at the difference. The The 97%, they're not willing to sacrifice their life for their own freedom. They'll even go fight in an army and fight for the freedoms of the United States. Well, the United States is suppressing you and still have you in chains and bound. So you'll fight for America's freedom against whatever going on in the world, or their advancement, because America's free and in a better position than most. So that's not the problem for white America. This country respects white Russians or their white enemies more than they respect their black citizens who have fought, who have sacrificed, and who have died for these causes. Great example, during World War II, American soldiers would go to different countries and be treated with a type of humanity in saloons and clubs and bars, but their white counterparts who were in the army fighting with them, alongside them, they had a problem with these people being involved invited in bars, because blacks were suppressed in America. The whites who they were fighting with, who people oftentimes call my brother. Semper Falls, I hear Marines say, once a Marine, always a Marine, we're brothers. Is that true? At least they have the people who are the most marginalized believing that it's true, but that's how you condition their minds. Believe something that's not true is true, and then you got them. It's called mental conditioning. Okay? Excuse me. Next point, the difference between the 97, 2, and 1 percenters. The 97 percenters do nothing to impact systemic dependency. They do nothing to impact systemic dependency. They're pretty comfortable in their place. The 2 percenters possess insufficient strategies to gain independence. They possess insufficient strategies to gain independence. They're trying their best. The 2 percenters, they're really trying their best to gain independence, but for whatever reason, communicating with the masses is not working. So even though the 2 percenters understand what we're going to have to do, Rome wasn't built in a day, and the systems, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The structure on how to go about establishing independence in this context is pretty simple. There's millions of examples of systems that are working in this country. Government, politics, same thing. Public school systems, same thing. City government, like there are structures in place, even corporations and how they operate. Clubs, organizations, structure, standardization. Implement those things and you can gain the independence that you want. But the 2 percenters thus far, as it relate to communicating with the 97 percenters and graduating them from 97 percenters to 2 percenters, the 2 percenters have insufficient strategies to gain independence. The 1 percenters, they understand how to gain freedom and they've done it. The 1 percenters absolutely understand how to gain freedom. And this is how the one percenters usually gain their freedom. Well, originally, they broke away from England. They came here to America and they murdered the natives, took their land, came acting friendly, but had evil intentions. So they understand how to gain freedom. They were willing to fight and risk everything to get away from tyranny. How much are the 97 and the 2%ers willing to fight to get away from tyranny? And that's our struggle at this point in our community. We don't fight. We're not willing to fight to gain our freedom. And they were willing to. They had a vision. They came to America, befriended the people here, but had evil intentions. Eventually, they took their land. So they know with unity and the ability to defend themselves through weaponry that they have a way to gain their freedom. Next point, the 97 percenters. We're showing the difference for anyone who's just coming in. We're showing the difference between the 97 percenters and the 2 percenters and the 1 percenters. The difference between the 97, 2, and the 1 percenters. We want to, most people who are 97 percenters, they're trapped inside the matrix. The matrix is here. Okay? We want them to get outside of the matrix, because if you're in the matrix, you're controlled like a puppet. The puppeteers, the 1 percenters are up here controlling you. And it's usually for your bad and their good. They only concerned about their greatest benefit. They use you as pawns so that they can live a comfortable, good life and maintain their power. They don't ever want you to discover power. They want you comfortable in your ignorance and in your subjugation. The 97% are mainly committed to a selfish agenda. The 97% are mainly committed to a selfish agenda. The 2 percenters are very committed to the group's self-reliance. The 2 percenters are very committed to the group's self-reliance. Yesterday, I was kind of overtaken emotionally. And actually, that's not a good word for it. I just cried, tears coming down my face, in me considering how much we're being overtaken, exploited, abused, and how we're underperforming. Children being murdered, foster parents, children being abandoned, just so many things that's, negative right now, that if you're empathetic, you think about those things and it could, make you feel like not good. So that was a case yesterday. I'm very committed to the group self-reliance. I'm a pretty self-reliant person. I can do decent by myself. I can be quite wealthy if I focus on that thing of just being wealthy alone. But because I'm so much more interested in the entire community as opposed to just myself and my own family, it leads me to invest my time, my talent, and my money in things that are, collectively beneficial to the group and not just myself. Now, the 1 percenters, they never cease their quest for freedom. Notice with them, I'm talking freedom. Notice with the other 2 groups, I'm talking, just self-reliance, just working on yourself. This group here, they want to reign and have power over everybody. The 1 percenters Again, let me repeat that. The 97 percenters are mainly committed to a selfish agenda. The 2 percenters are very committed to the group's self-reliance. The 1 percenters, they never cease their quest for freedom and power. They never cease their quest for freedom and power. Even if it sounds like they're being nice and kind, trust me, it's a slanted perspective, because they'll never free you from their power, ever. The 97 percenters and oftentimes the 2 percenters are guinea pigs in the minds of the 1 percenters. They can do experiments on you all the time, just over a bet. I bet I can get them to do this. I bet you can't. Okay, well, let's launch this thing here. Let's launch a disease called corona. Let's launch a thing called AIDS. Let's allow syphilis to take its toll on a people, and let's tell them that we're treating them, but we're really giving them water pills or whatever to not really treat it. We just want to see what syphilis can do if untreated. And while we're watching them and they're coming in and we're telling them that, yo, we're treating you, but we're actually just observing and doing the experiment to see what this disease can do to a person. Virus can do to human people. So we're human capital for them, the 1 percenters. And they'll never relinquish that. So I'm going to go through these things much faster. So you may need to rewind the video so that you can do these things can observe these things on your own. Okay. 2 percenters. 97 percenters. They are totally deceived about prosperity. They're totally deceived about prosperity. 97 percenters are totally deceived about prosperity. They think they're wealthy when they're not. They think life is going well for them, but they're being exploited and cheapened because it's not bringing liberty to them. They're not free. The 2 percenters usually work at their highest aptitude. The 97 percenters are totally deceived about prosperity. The 2 percenters usually work at their highest capacity and their highest aptitude. The 1 percenters are always committed to teaching others. They're always committed to teaching others. Look at the difference. The 97 percenters totally deceived about prosperity in La La Land. The 2 percenters, they're usually working at their highest capacity and they understand how to prosper, ongoing good fortune. They're usually in the question of prosperity that the 97% really doesn't have a clue on. The 2 percenters usually work at their highest capacity to enrich the group's lives. Like they're trying to pull people in because they don't see themselves as isolated. They see themselves collectively in the group. So they don't believe in becoming wealthy themselves like the 97 percenters and not reaching back to bring others along with them. The 1 percenters are always committed to teaching others. They understand how to teaching others within their group, their interest group, their cultural group, their ethnic group. They're always interested in teaching others because they believe in legacy. They teach you the culture so that you can become the ruler along with them. They want you to become like you're because they're part of the 1%. You're grandfathered into the 1% just for being associated with their bloodline, royalty. Their royalty. They're the upper class in the group. So their prince and their princes are grandfathered in. They teach them and they bring them in, and the cycle continues to go on. Next, the 97%, they do nothing to oppose exploitation. They talk, but don't do much. They talk a lot, but don't do much about exploitation. The 2%ers, they do their best to oppose exploitation. The 97% do nothing to oppose exploitation. They're comfortable. The 2% do their best to avoid exploitation, but they don't have a whole lot of power like that. So they do their best, though, to try to bring others in. The 1%ers are committed to the group's common good. The 1%ers are committed to the group's common good. Power, maintaining power. They're always committed to the group's common good. The 97%, next point. The 97%ers rarely maximize their talent. They rarely work at their highest human potential. They rarely work at their highest capacity because they're comfortable. Those who are doing poorly, they don't try to excel to their highest capacity. Those who are affluent, they're comfortable too. They don't reach back and help make others better. So they rarely maximize their talent. So if you're not becoming a leader of men, which is the last step of maturity, to be able to give back, to influence, you show you're proficient by displaying your skill set. Understanding how to do something is one thing. Being able to teach that something to others, that's the most mature thing. Or to make that into something else. Let's say you have a law degree, but opening your own law firm and employing others is the highest height of that field. Opening your own firm, doing your own thing, creating opportunities for other people to do what you did initially shows proficiency. Okay? So the 97% rarely maximize their talent. The 2% understand real prosperity. The 97% rarely maximize their talent. The 2%ers understand real prosperity. And the 1%ers always work at their highest capacity. They always work at their highest capacity to exploit, whether it's effortless or not. The system that they employ, they allow it. It's already in. They put all of the work on the front end. At the beginning, we said that they sacrifice their lives for freedom. They understand how to gain freedom, and it's usually at the barrel of a gun. That they gain their freedom. They sacrifice their lives for it. So right now that they saying that they maximize every opportunity, that just means that the system is in place that allows them to, they can sit back now as the system continues to work at the highest level of exploiting people, of raking in wealth for them. It's working at the highest level. They're creating venues and ways to make even more money all the time. For-profit prisons. So it's like slavery was removed, but there's all the money that's generated, the wealth that's generated off of the backs of African people. It's still working today, even better than it worked back in the day. Look how many Africans and black and brown people are enslaved. in prison, for-profit prisons. They're making that money hand over fist. All of the programs that provide the services to for-profit prisons, I mean, it's just the one percenters are just raking in all over the place. This thing is on cruise control for them. They maximize every opportunity without feelings, without heart. They care less about their human capital. They don't care. They're just trying to maximize their gain, which is the most important thing for them. Next, and finally, the end. 97 percenters suffer insignificant gains. Their gains are very minimal. They suffer insignificant gains and leave so much on the table. You earn this much money, but you're the highest consumer. So you're spending and giving that money right back out as soon as you get it. So they suffer insignificant gains, and that's a bad thing. And we talked about the 97% liking shiny things. I talked about that in the past, how being haughty or image is important for them. Spending on liabilities is so important to them because it makes them look and feel a certain kind of way, but it doesn't make you money. It takes away your wealth and your strength and your financial leverage. Okay? The 97 percenters suffer insignificant gains. The 2 percenters have made moderate gains in their mind to begin with, and then it's in their practice. The 2 percenters make moderate gains for themselves, but they spend energy, a lot of their energy, trying to pull the 97 percenters to the 2% place. Okay, so while they could do better, they can make exceptional gains if they focus on just themselves. But most 2 percenters reach back. That's why they're 2 percenters. And they understand that they stand alone in many cases with the few 2 percenters that are in their own personal spaces. So they're reaching back. It's strange to them to be in such a small group. They're calling back to the 97 percenters saying, hey, you're in the matrix. Come out of it. Come over here and join me. Okay? All right. So the 2 percenters have made moderate gains. The 1 percenters, they understand real prosperity and will change the world. That's what the 2 percenters do. I'm sorry, the 1 percenters. The 1 percenters, they understand real prosperity and they will change the world. Let's look at Putin now. Word has that he's stolen so much money over the years that he's probably the most wealthy man on the planet. Say like $200 billion is in his possession in offshore banks and things like that. But the 1 percenters in America, they understand that. That's why now that they're sanctioning Russia, they're talking about the oligarchs and had the wealth that they have outside of Russia and how they're seizing those accounts and freezing those accounts so they cannot access their wealth. The 1 percenters, they know. The 1 percenters in all different parts of the world, they know. They know. Now, the 1 percenters will change the world. So we're trying to get our 97 percenters to graduate to the 2%. And then collectively, as we pool our resources and connect our highways, connect our efforts, we can then start knocking down the walls that continue to work against us. And then we can eventually become what it is that we have to become, which is self-reliant and independent. We cannot allow exploitation to continue on. So I thank you guys for looking in once again. We will be presenting to you again tonight at 9 o'clock on the podcast. the King Jeff Instagram podcast at 9 o'clock Central Time. And we'll be on Facebook at 8 o'clock Central Time. I thank you guys for looking in. If you are looking for love, if you're looking for business partners or community partnership, make sure you consider coming online with us so we can introduce you to the rest of the world. And let me say this. I recommend that you go to the Amazon bookstore and purchase you a copy of The Matrix Project, The Way to Freedom. I'm sorry, The Way to Power, The Way to Freedom. That's ultimately what it is. That's the freedom and the power that we absolutely have to walk in. The Way to Power, The Matrix Project. I wrote The Matrix Project, and I'm messing up on the title. But this is a great text that consists of our cultural codes for us to follow to become prosperous and to maximize our human potential. Well, we thank you so much for looking in today. I will talk to you soon. God bless. Peace. Appreciate it.